Hello, I'm Colin Wright, and I'm going to answer some of your questions. First question today: how do I know when it is time to move on from a relationship or from a hometown? Well, the easy stuff first. If you're in a relationship that's abusive or in some way coercive or restrictive, it's probably a good time to move on. If you are in a relationship that seems to be preventing you from growing or from pursuing some type of goal for whatever reason, whether it's implicit or explicit types of limitations that you find yourself confined by, then it's a time to at least think about it. There's nothing inherently wrong in being in a comfortable, predictable, secure relationship. Just the fact that you're not growing by leaps and bounds and evolving like crazy on multiple different levels doesn't mean it's a bad relationship. There is a lot to be said for predictability and comfort and security, but I would also question that if you do find yourself stagnating and every day kind of seems the same, and like you look back at the last several weeks and you can't really think of anything notable that you've done, you should at least consider that this is something worth looking at. And that doesn't mean leave the relationship. None of these things do. It just means that you need to take a good look at it and consider that as one of your options. There's a lot of other options that come before leaving, but in some cases the only way to really get out from under something like that is to just end the relationship and move on and try to take what you've learned and find something that's a better fit next time, or a better fit for who you are now next time. And the same is really true with leaving a hometown. I would hazard to say that the reason that a lot of people don't leave a relationship that is not ideal and don't leave like a hometown are the same reasons, that it's something that is familiar, and it's something where you have history, and it's something where you've got plans. And I don't know about you, but when I've had the end of some of my relationships, the most painful thing was not the end of the relationship and the fact that it happened. It was that all the plans we made now were not going to happen. These were all things that I was like looking forward to, and that it just seemed like advance sentiment in a way for these events that never happened, that we wanted to go through with. And so I think the same thing happens with a hometown, where you have all of these plans and these things that you're going to do. You have history, but also a future that will be unfulfilled if you leave. And what's really important when you're taking a look at this and trying to decide whether to stay or go, in both cases, whether it's with a relationship or a place, is to consider what you want. Like, where do you want to be? Do you want to be really growth-oriented, or do you want to be more secure and more comfortable? You can be incredibly growth-oriented and stay in one place. You can be incredibly growth-oriented and stay with one person your entire life. But if that's not happening now, then it's something that you really need to consider and ensure that one of your options is to leave what you've got now behind. So there's no real absolute, other than the aforementioned like abuse situation. There's no absolute rule that says that this thing is a line in the sand where you definitely need to go. But you should always leave it on the table. I think if nothing else, it helps provide like a far end of the spectrum of what is worth considering. So then all the other things too seem a lot easier in comparison. And then the second question today: how can I make peace with betrayal and rejection? These are both very difficult things to cope with. And even once you come up with ways to cope with them, and once you kind of master it even, you still will get little pangs of something, of a certain type of feels anytime that they happen. But something to keep in mind, something to consider, is that both betrayal and rejection are kind of outside influences. These are things that other people are doing toward you. And ideally, you are a complete enough individual in unto yourself that these outside influences, although you can accept what's coming from them, you are not dependent on them for your own sense of self-worth. And so what I mean by that is that if other people are celebrating you or something that you've done or making you feel good, then you can look at that and say, oh, this is a positive thing, and then kind of allow yourself to feel the emotions that go along with that acknowledgement. Whereas if you recognize that this is someone trying to hurt you, or somebody inadvertently hurting you, it's possible to acknowledge that this is something that is happening without feeling that you have to then wallow in misery for a while as a consequence of that. It's much more practical, I think. And this is a very kind of stoic philosophy, but it's much more practical to be able to recognize when this is happening so that you can act accordingly. You can act in accordance with the knowledge that somebody's trying to hurt you or keeps accidentally hurting you, and then, do what you need to do with your relationship based on that. But you don't have to wallow. You can take this as a data point and then work it into the math of everything else that's going on and just say, okay, well that sucks. That was not what I expected. And then go on with your day. And it takes a little bit of practice to get to that point where you can push the kind of gut-wrenching side of this to the side so that it doesn't get in the way of you living. But it really is a good place to be. And you don't have to become some kind of Zen master to make it happen. It's not like some kind of hardcore meditative practice. It just requires that you, as an individual, without any external feedback, are confident that you believe in yourself and that you are complete without needing other people to be celebrating you for you to feel good. And if you can do that, then it feels even better when people are celebrating you or something that you've done. But when they're not, or when they're doing the opposite, then you still are okay. You are still capable of moving forward, of continuing to grow, of continuing to enjoy things even if other people are not. So this is something that allows you to be good no matter what's happening around you. And it allows you then to be happy for yourself, for your own enjoyment of life, and not crippled every time somebody leaves you a bad review on Amazon or says something mean to you on Twitter, or dumps you or cheats on you. But it also means that you are then complete unto yourself, and so you can be more of a rock for other people in your life. That you're not going to fall to pieces because of some type of external influence, so you have more strength to give. You have more left over for other people because you're not using up all of your energy, emotional and otherwise, on dealing with these external things that really are not a reflection on you necessarily even. There's a lot of different reasons that people betray. There's a lot of reasons that people say mean things and that people cheat. You deciding that this is all a value judgment on you is a bad leap to a bad conclusion. And so it's really not worth your time to judge yourself and to see yourself through that type of negative lens. It's not practical if what you're looking to do is enjoy life and do what you can for other people along the way. So I guess my answer is really focus on yourself as much as possible and focus on any fissures that you find, any kind of weak points that seem extra fragile to outside influence, and then see what you can do about that. See what you can do to ensure that you do feel good about yourself, despite the fact that you, like everyone else, is imperfect. See what you can do and how far you can move in that direction toward feeling like a complete, worthwhile human being, no matter what's happening around you. And this is not to say that you're not already partway there. All of us are always partway there. I don't think there's actually an end destination to this. There's always room to improve, but it's something to be thinking about. Thanks so much for watching. If you would like to ask me a question to answer in a future video, you can leave that in the comment section below or go to the Consider This Facebook page and ask there. You can also give this video a like. You can subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed it. You can share it with a friend even. This is the internet. You can do those things. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet at Colin is my name. You can find out more about me and my work at colin.io. My blog is exilelifestyle.com, and I have a podcast called Let's Know Things that you should definitely check out if you get the chance.